All right, to those joining us, thank you so much for joining us on today's session of Farm Spaces. We are running slightly late because we are waiting for our farmers. Please bear with us, guys. The country is currently going through an unrest. So a lot of our farmers are trying to keep safe, and a lot of our farmers are trying their hardest to be here. So if we could just extend our time to, let's see, what time is it now? Maybe if we can make it in the next 5 minutes, I'm sure they'll be able to join us very quickly. So today we're obviously going to be chatting about the current political climate and how that has affected all of us as farmers individually, but we will also be delving into the strategy of creating a farm disaster plan, because that is very important, that is very crucial. It's not isolated in political events only. It also deals with disasters, natural disasters, such as flooding and fires. And we're also going to be speaking on how we as farmers can become prepared for such events. So I see our speakers are here. We're just waiting for them to become speakers so that they can start speaking. And to those who have joined us, welcome to another session of Farm Spaces. Thank you guys for being here. Today is going to be, it's going to be cathartic in a sense that we're going to be speaking from our hearts. Currently, farmers are having their properties torched. They are having their livestock stolen. They are having their livestock, brutally attacked and therefore killed, and they are having their own property vandalized. So that is the current situation that we're in. I see our speakers are arriving. Let me just make sure that they can become speakers and start speaking. So Tabang, Ipileng, Ole is here. Could you guys kindly accept to become speakers? All right, what we're going to do whilst we wait for our speakers, our farmers to join us, is if there's anybody who'd like to comment or maybe just start the show by just speaking on how they're doing, how you guys are, how you're keeping with the current political climate. Are you guys safe? What has happened? If you'd like to share anything with us as we wait for our speakers, you're more than welcome to. Just request to be a speaker and share some thoughts and some light on that. Hi, Tabang.
Hello, Google. Thank you for inviting
How are
me,
you doing?
and I'm good. And you, just be patient with
I'm
me.
good, thank
I'm
you.
struggling with the signal on my farm right now since in the morning. So please, but I've just seen your invite, but the network is killing me right here.
Is it the network on your side? Okay. No, that's understandable. Thanks for letting us know, Farmer. We're waiting for our host, but I feel like in the meantime, should we just start the show because it's slightly after 6. All right, guys. So I guess we are starting off on a very rocky start, but that's okay. Is there anybody joining us listening who would like to share how the looting has affected their business or know of any story that has happened around them? Maybe you guys can just request to be a speaker and share that. Or alternatively, I will choose at random and invite you guys to speak so that we can just kick off the show with completely being honest about how this has been affecting us before our speakers come in and speak more on the farm management, disaster management strategy keys that they have in place that they would like to share. So I am going to do that right now. Hi, Tamsin. How are you?
I had a funny feeling that you're gonna ask me. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You know Farm Spaces, you know what we're about. We're about conversating, being completely honest, and speaking about issues that affect farmers. So I wanted you to maybe share with us how you have noticed the current unrest that is happening affect farmers.
Thank you. Yeah, it's. I must say, our side has been very quiet. In the West Rand, so Western area, there was a little bit of unrest yesterday in Randfontein, but that was it wasn't too bad. So I think we've been spared quite a bit. It's not as heavy or hectic our side. However, for other farmers, I've seen a lot of things. I've seen, I'm not sure what his name is, but the Yankees, the feed guy that lost 150 tons of lucerne. I can't even think what that means for a farmer. That's your whole winter. That's up in flames right there. And I really, really feel for farmers. I've seen a lot of farmers in KZN not being able to get their produce to market, and a lot of tankers that had to empty their milk on the floor. I think that is just, it's indescribable that you've put so many man hours into nursing this baby, and at the end of the day, it's all now gone down the drain. um, I foresee there's gonna be of um, a lot of loss and a lot of rebuilding that needs to that's gonna need to happen, and it's gonna stay with us for the next, I don't know how many years, rebuilding that type of infrastructure, and especially um, making up the money that's lost. It's gonna take some time, and but I'm positive because as a farmer you know patience, and as a farmer you know what it is to grind through things. So I am positive, but I know our farmers are bleeding heavily, 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 Gugu.
Mm, mm. And I think you touched on a very important point there, Tamsin, when you're saying that it takes time. It's going to take time, because as a farmer who has establishments in place, who has a warehouse, who has certain structures and a certain operation going on, that is not something that people understand very broadly. It takes time to establish that as a farmer, especially when you have built yourself from the ground up. So now to have people come into your property and vandalize and torch is so painful. And my heart is bleeding for the farmers. And I really I don't know how we're going to recover. Personally, I'm praying that the government steps in here to really assist us with rebuilding, because I don't know if you saw on the news, there were like long lines of people shopping at one mall because the malls have been torched and destroyed or closed. So it's going to impact everyone. It's going to have a bad ripple effect for everyone, and we can only hope that we as a country can prioritize the nation feeders, farmers first, so that we can be able to feed the nation and be able to really get things back on track. I see our farmers here. You were speaking about Tepiso Yankees. He's
Yes,
actually here as
100%.
a
I also
speaker.
just saw.
Yeah, he's here as a speaker. So I'm thinking that our farmers are really struggling with the network, because they are here. However, they cannot become speakers. So if you're a farmer and you have joined us tonight, you are more than welcome to just request to be a speaker. Let's talk about what's happening. Let's talk about how we're going to move forward. Let's talk about how we are affected and what's the plan. Because at the end of the day, we as farmers need to stick together. We need to grow. We need to ensure that we're there to support each other. So thank you so much for sharing that, Tamsin. Here's Tepiso Yankees. he will take over. But we really appreciate what you have shared with us, Tamsin, and you've really opened up our farm spaces on a good note. Thank you.
Always a pleasure, Gugu.
Mr. Yankees, are you here with us?
Evening, everyone. Yeah, I'm here with you.
Mr. Yankees, first of all, we just want to send lights and our prayers. We have seen on Facebook that your warehouse, if I'm not mistaken, your infrastructure was burnt. Do you mind sharing what's happening on your side with us?
Thank you very much, Gugu. Evening, everyone. I don't know where to start. Actually, this incident happened on Monday. Actually, on my arrival to the warehouse where we are storing our lucerne. So far so good. We don't know the cause of fire, but actually it was someone who set the fire, because we are actually just on the next to the public road where everyone is passing to another village. So according to my analysis, I've seen where the fire came from outside the yard up until to our yard. Now, what happened is during that Monday, there was a very, very strong wind, because the fire was just inside the yard where the equipment were just lying around, tractors and some equipment that we are using to cut, rake, and bale loose ends. So when I got there, actually, there was no one there. I was the only person who was there, but I tried to rescue mostly the tractors because they have engines, they have diesel, so those ones were going to explode and it was going to be something else. So I tried to remove the tractors, but unfortunately, when I came back, trying to run back to the site, trying to call people for help, it was a little too late because that wind actually blown that fire straight to the warehouse. Remember our lucerne warehouse, it's an open warehouse at the front, so because we did it in that way so that tractors can just come in, come out easily. So that fire went straight to the warehouse, the bales, some tires of the machines and tractors, everything that was there was burning like papers. So that strong wind actually gave that fire some power, because I think actually even the fire people came, but it was already late. They tried with their big trucks, 2 trucks. The water finished. They went to fetch 2 trucks with water. They only stabilized the fire, but everything was gone already, because that fire actually stopped around 1 a.m. midnight when I went there just to check if it's not causing another fire somewhere else around the warehouse. So yeah, definitely that was it. Remember, a bale is a compressed product, so it's more of like pages. It's more of like a Bible. When it bends on top or at the bottom, in the middle, it's still fresh. So each and every page must bend. So that is why that fire was so strong, because the stockpile of lucerne there. It was a winter harvest. Remember, we have harvested since May and June, and we haven't sold anything. So we were stockpiling for winter, for sales, and also for production of our animal feeds for our farmers. So everything was there, all this stacking of lucerne for winter harvest. And remember, winter lucerne is closing. Actually, it was the last harvest. You can only see the harvest on end of September or beginning of October, only when if it won't be too cold from now up until August. But if it's still too cold, there is no production on lucerne, because the growth is too little, because the lucerne is depending on warmth also and direct sunlight to grow. So maybe we might sit for the next coming 6 months up until December. No production, nothing. So we just have to see how we maneuver from this situation. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yankees. And sure, like I can't even, begin to imagine what you're going through right now. And strength to you. And we are heartbroken. We are heartbroken because this fire was started. So just please share with us, if you may, Mr. Yankees, what in your situation, how do you think you are going to try and rebuild a disaster like that?
Thank you very much again, Gugu. What I've realized in a warehouse, because actually speaking, we only had few fire extinguishers, because we never thought such a big fire will happen. But according to my own analysis, I've realized that because that one we are storing, because remember the bale is actually on their own, especially what is it, barley straw. The barley straw is a very dry matter, because that one it can burn alone. When it stays for long and it's too hot, when they come together they can even cause fire themselves. But this one, it was lucid and it's always green, so you never thought it can do that. But according to what I've seen, what I've noticed, I actually have to put the fire detectors in place. Number one. Number two, I must install the uproof irrigation system only, with I mean the uproof irrigation system together with the smoke detector, so that when there's something like that, that irrigation sprinklers will actually make sure that immediately when there is a smoke or something, because remember this, it can't be natural only, or someone can set it. We have people, some are old people, they are smoking, so it tells me that it might happen again, in a sense where one of the employees might smoke and throw that little pieces of a cigarette somewhere down there without actually switching it. Or maybe it might happen either way, because fire can happen in many measures where you are working with people. So it tells me that I must put that in place actually to avoid such, so that I can protect everything that will be there. Because when you have a smoke detector and you have some water somewhere where that detector will actually lies with those pipes and water, it actually send a message to say there is a smoke somewhere that might cause fire, so that irrigation will respond with water to such. So this is one of the things that I'm actually planning to do. But again, it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time, because the infrastructure alone, remember such warehouses, those are, it's up to 1 million to build a warehouse. So in order to refurbish it, because it was old actually in that fashion, but now it's worse because it's damaged, badly damaged, especially the roof, because others is steel, but the roof, it's badly damaged. We need to remove every pieces of roof. So in order for me to build it, to rebuild it again, it's a lot of money. And I would say this, that Lucerne is the, in my all businesses, in my mixed farming businesses, this is the focal point. This is the business where I am making at least something, and this business has been subsidizing other businesses such as Khora Maize Mill, which is the production of our maize meal, which is a new baby on the block. Even my livestock has been subsidizing these other businesses, but now I'm in a situation where everything is at a low level. So having to think of the infrastructure alone, it's a lot of money. Having to think of the machines that are damaged, because I'm servicing other farmers with cutting and raking and baling of lucerne. So the two machines have damaged, which is doing the cutting and the raking. So when I put up everything together to say I must start afresh, at least the little, in order for me to refurbish the warehouse and buy those equipment, the little ones that I can start doing something with, at least I must be having plus minus 2.5 million to restart that. But anyway, I'm not giving up in that essence. I will actually see what I can do to actually start, because my other worry is that, remember, I have employees now. When it comes to the senses, when I have to sleep, to think about people that I'm have to cut them. But it's not in my plan. But now sometimes when I'm pressured and I don't have any assistance anywhere, I will have to release some people, but of which it's something that I hate with all of my heart, because I understand how unemployment is. So basically we are trying to see which ways we are going to use in this act, to say this is what we are planning, this is what we are trying to do. But yes, there have been interaction in terms of conversations, meetings, site visits by various stakeholders. So I believe maybe somewhere, somehow there will be help, but I must not actually depend on that. I, as a businessman or a farmer alone, I must actually try to make a plan on how am I going to resuscitate such buildings, and where am I going to start again with Lucerne. But like I said before, the Lucerne is closed. So for me to have a Lucerne now, it's going to be only here and there. But currently at my farm, I cannot get any product because everything is spent down. So like I said, it's winter, lucerne is not growing. So actually I must wait up until September to October to actually have a good produce. So those are the things that I'm actually trying to plan. But like I said before, it's good to plan for fires because not only happening like that way, especially in farms, the livestock people are actually struggling. Even in communal land, there is always fire. There is fire actually everywhere. So even if you have created fire belts on your camps, our area is one of the area that is too dusty. When there is wind, there is too much dust, there is too much wind. So a little matches or whatever that you can use, you set the smaller pieces, it can burn more than 4 to 5 villages because our villages are just lined. So it's dry everywhere, it's dry grass everywhere. So these grasses or these fires are actually connecting from one village to another. So this is currently what has been happening. Thank you, Gugu.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yankees, for sharing that with us. And, you are in our prayers, you are in our hearts, and you are right. As a farmer, we don't give up. We won't give up. We are going to fight this. We are going to rise like Phoenix, and we are with you all the way with that one. Let me also ask our other farmers that are also here just to speak more on it. And I think Ole is here. Ole, can you hear us?
Yes, hello everyone. Hello.
Hi, Ole, how are you?
Can you hear me, Gugu?
Hi. Yes. Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, hi everyone. I'm so sorry for coming into the space late. I was held up on the farm.
No, we understand. We understand, Ole. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, just to add on to what Mr. Yankees was saying, I don't know, should I say fortunately or unfortunately, we are from the same area. So when I heard that he was having a problem, it was burning at his door, unfortunately, I was also there to witness everything that happened. It was very heartbreaking. So once again, I would like to offer my story to Mr. Yankees for the losses that they've experienced, because I'm also some of that lucerne that burned from their farm. The lucerne that I'm exporting, I was supposed to be exporting this week to Botswana. So it's not just them that suffered the loss, also us people that also as some farmers that export their product, we also suffered a lot. So like he was saying, fires are very, very, very bad headache amongst us here, the farmers in the Northwest. Actually all over the country. But it's mainly caused by people. So, like he was saying, there's nothing that we could do. There was just nothing. Even our fire department, they tried. There was nothing that we could do. The most important thing is that we need to educate our people. Our people need to know that they've got this narrative that when it's winter, every dry grass it must burn. I don't know who taught our people that. So the most important thing, maybe what we could be asked from our department is that they need to do this education or this drive to teach our people that dry grass does not mean it needs to be burned. If they are saying dry grass needs to be burned so that new grass can come out, then in that 3 months, what happens to the poor animals in that 3 months? So I think from our department side, they also need to come on board and start this education or drive to teach our people about this thing about failed fires. Thank you. Thank you, Gugu.
Thank you so much, Ole. And you're right when it comes to this education. And also, I want to speak more about the department and what role they have when farmers are going through these things, because at the end of the day, we are farmers independent, we love what we do, so we are going to make sure that it's business as usual. But we don't always have to be strong, whereas our responsibility is to feed the nation. So where and how and if does the government play a role in assisting when things like fires take place or flooding? If you guys can share more on that.
Me or Mr. Yankees?
Any one of you guys, it's okay.
You know what's unfortunate, Bogune? When a farmer faces a disaster, either he faces floods or fires. Like unfortunately, I was a victim of floods in December. Over 23,000 heads of cabbage that were ready for the market. All of them were sitting underwater for 2 weeks because we had floods in December. Government, when they assist, you would find that your damage is sitting at a certain amount. They will never assist you with the whole amount, or sometimes they will never assist you at all. In this instance, I was never assisted. All they asked me to do was to write a report about the losses that I suffered, which I did, and till today I'm not assisted with anything, even a follow-up, nothing. So sometimes when they assist you, they will only assist you with a small portion. If your loss is maybe 100,000, they will maybe assist you with 10,000, or they will assist you with 15,000. So, Libano from their side, I think they a bit overstretched. It's the same as when we are facing drought. You would find they would come to you when you are facing drought. You are sitting with 50 cattle. They come and give you 20 bales of lucerne. 20 bales of lucerne, those cows will finish it in a day. So I really don't know. I honestly don't know how they could assist or what they could do more. Can you hear me, Google?
Yes, I can hear you. No, I just listened to what you said, and I don't know. Personally, for me, I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed. So, the responsibility of starting a business, the responsibility of feeding the nation, the responsibility of employing people, and the responsibility of taking up all risks lies solely on the farmer, and I think that is unfair. So I wanted us to maybe speak more on how we can within our own might mitigate these risks when it comes to flooding, when it comes to natural fires or looting. Is anybody on insurance here? And how does that work? Because as a small scale farmer, for me, insurance is not something that I am even considering because I feel like I can't afford it. So is that something that now we need to be looking at going forward because anything can happen in this country? I don't know if you would like to answer that, Mr. Yankees.
Okay, Gugu. I've been struggling to hear here and there, but I heard somehow, if I'm not mistaken, you were speaking about the insurances and other stuff, and also on the government side. But I've heard Ole has covered a lot of things in terms of how the government is coming in, and thank you very much, Ole. Also, yes, indeed, he came to our place by the time of fire. Actually, he witnessed everything. Those are the farmers that when you look into your cards, then you understand exactly who are you with in this farm spaces when you are in trouble. I must say that, my friend, I appreciated your presence during that time of disaster where I was really actually in trouble. You know what, the issue of government, I would say, let me start with it. Remember, this government, it's for everyone. Number one. Number two, I would say this: there are some officials who are not committed to their work, because maybe the MEC might wanted to help, or the minister might wanted to help, because there are these funds that are made for disasters, that are made for any other program. It might be youth development or enterprise development, but there have been people who have been assigned to actually assist us, to actually come to us, to actually understand the businesses or whatever that we are doing on the ground, so that they can report actually exactly what we are doing. Now, somehow we have been failed. We will blame our leaders maybe in that spaces, but we understand that those leaders are not coming to the ground. They must come to the ground based on the report they're giving, to say this is what has happened here, there, and where, you see. So on other side, it's true what Ole has said, to say I cannot be. Let me make a practical example. Ole mentioned what has happened to him last year with his chicks. I saw it on Facebook where they were swimming on top of water. I was like, damn, look what is happening. I could not believe even what he's saying now, to say he has not yet been assisted. Maybe if he's assisted when you are in trouble, where your stuff has been damaged to a monetary value of 2 million, then you get 10,000. You understand? That is only for petrol to run around. One other thing, insurances, I would say on my own experience, I those aspects that we want the insurances to cover, they don't do, especially in the farming side. I inquired with 4 insurances I will not mention. I was not getting actually what I wanted them to cover because I have livestock also, I have crop, I have businesses which is buildings and everything. I wanted something that would be incorporated into that. Never mind the building, into livestock. All of them, when I inquired, they would say they don't cover theft. Like imagine you don't cover theft as an insurance when we are talking about livestock, which is actually the troubling thing what we are experiencing as far as livestock is concerned, which is theft, and the insurance is not covering that. Why should I have insurance for livestock while it's not covering that? You look into other aspects into insurances, such things happen. Yes, they will tell you about the disaster, but they will tell you something else in the disaster. Those people are too good and too qualified to break down a disaster. To actually tell you, no, we are covering a disaster in this manner. So we are sitting at the point where we actually gonna sit with no insurances. You only have insurances for vehicles and other things, but when it comes to such things where you saying this is the points where I need you to cover as an insurance, but they will tell you no, we cover up to here. By the time when you have to claim, you have been paying a lot of money, you are actually not being covered of that. They make other stories to tell you no. During the disaster, this is what we are covering. Again, they will want you to actually make sure who started that, especially in terms of fire. How would we know who started fire when you're telling them that there was fire at my place? This is what is happening. They would want all sorts of reported, want police cases, and in these matters, in terms of farming, the police they don't go investigate fire. They will just tell you no, we can't go. We are dealing with criminals. Yes, it's a criminal activity, but we don't know who it is. Do you want police to go around and look for a person who have set fire? Where will they find him or her? If that's the case. So these are the challenges we are experiencing as farmers in terms of insurances. Yes, other ones are good, but there are nitty-gritties behind those insurance companies in terms of what they cover. So I would say as a farmer, sometimes we are on our own in such things. Sometimes we just have to work together as farmers, because if one farmer is going down, remember there are other people who will suffer. Imagine Ole is into food security with these chicks, for an example. Then imagine how many people were going to eat, how many people are actually employed on that, when you talk about the economy, how affected is the economy in terms of the disaster that has happened. Ole has mentioned that in terms of Lucerne, we are transporting Lucerne up to Botswana. Lesotho is doing very well in buying Lucerne directly from us. So that is no way. Imagine the animal feed industry, because the animal feed industry, that is roughage, it's used in processing, you can use it as it is. So actually we are not only affected by this, there are many sectors affected into this. Transportation is there also, and again these looting and chaoses that are happening in multiple provinces are really affecting our businesses, because Tina as farmers, we need to move around. We need to move around. We can go Mpumalanga, we can go Limpopo. We need to move around because we are exploring a lot of things in farming, especially into livestock. Or let me will tell much about that. You can't just sit here and concentrate on auctions, or maybe concentrate on buying or getting livestock around. We are talking about breeds. We are talking about genetics. We need to move around to get that as far as livestock is concerned. In crops is the same. We need to understand which area or which province is good in particular crops. If you have to go to Bujadala and say, I've seen breads, they are doing very good in terms of vegetable production. I'm very happy. I've passed places, they are doing very great in vegetable production that side. So we need to understand what has been produced where and how good they are. Here in Dr. RSM, in our side with Abu Ole, we are doing great. That's why it's called the Texas of Mzansi, because of the livestock. There is meat here. I mean, also in grain production, which is your maize, which is your barley, which is your lucerne, we are doing great. During the tenure of my grandparents, I was supplying SAB with barley. So those things are the things that we have in our hands, but the support is really needed. Remember, in farming, we're not talking about 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000. If you get any damage or any loss, you are talking 100,000 upwards. Imagine if I have to take that from my own savings. Remember also that farming activity or business is giving us income. This is our monthly income that we have to depend. We must also get salaries into that. But when you are dead and you don't have any support, actually you are not going anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yankis. You're really touching on so many issues, and I think you are speaking to all the farmers that are currently present on this farm spaces when you are speaking about the lack of support and the lack of understanding how a farm operation is. You know, there are different provinces which are great in certain types of fields that need to be supported as such. And in terms of also having all these insurances really need to look at how farming works in order to cater for our needs when we need them. And it's heartbreaking to know that you know, with these insurances, all the terms and conditions don't really apply to us as farmers. So we have our future MEC here. Future MEC, would you like to add on to what has been spoken? All right, perhaps she's having some network difficulty. Rural Farmer, I see that you are here present.
Yes, good evening, Guguletu and listeners there. Hey, it's so sad what is happening around. It's so sad. I'm just listening to all these farmers right now. Yeah, it's heartbreaking when it comes to the issues of fire and the support from the government, which is actually not there. Hey, Guguletu.
No, it's heartbreaking. You know, as Mr. Yankis is sharing his story with us, I'm heartbroken, and I think I'm more heartbroken or even angry at the fact that where do we go to? Okay, fine, now this has happened, and you know, I'm a farmer. I am giving back to the local economy. Where's the support when we need it? I think that's where it really breaks my heart a lot. And what are we going to do? What's the solution, guys? What should we be looking at? What should we be focusing on? Ole, are you there?
Yes, Google. I'm sorry I was cut off as I'm still on my way home from the farm. Just to add on to
Oh,
what
all right.
Mr. Yankees was saying, in terms of somebody would say we are commercial farmers, we should be having insurance. But like he was saying, it's very expensive. I recently had a quotation for livestock insurance. When it comes, they've got two types of insurance. They've got an insurance where you pay, I don't know if I should mention figures. They would say pay 15,000 for the whole year, but it only covers your cattle for disease, and that's it. They only cover your cattle for diseases. That's it. Now, when it comes to theft and them being lost and disaster, now that 15,000 it becomes a monthly payment. How do you pay? How do you pay 15,000 for insurance for all your cattle? I mean that's basically when you speak. That's like two calves. That's two calves a month. You can't be spending so much. So I think when you say what is the solution, somehow we need the insurance industry needs to, maybe they need to do a special package. I don't know, maybe do something that can assist farmers in terms of when they try when you try and do insurance, this incorporated insurance. So it's really difficult because even in government you can't go to them and say please ask us in terms of or negotiate for us. Even government in themselves, they don't have insurance. Most government vehicles or buildings, they don't have insurance as a result. So it's really a tough one, honestly, on my side. But the prices are too exorbitant. I don't know who can speak to them and say, you are really killing our farmers. Reduce your prices, reduce your premiums in terms of that.
Thank you so much, Ole. Guys, what's the solution? Does anyone have a proposed solution for us? Because you know, for me as a farmer, I'm thinking about my long-term goals, and to be honest with you, it doesn't include insurance because I cannot afford it. So is anybody on the space who'd like to share something with us? Please request to become a speaker and just share your thoughts about what you think should happen and how we can mitigate this and how we can beat this. Because at the end of the day, we need a farm disaster management. We need a plan. Insurance is not working for us. So what to do, guys? Where do we go? Tandiwe? Hi, Tandiwe, are you there? Tandiwe?
Gugulethu, meanwhile you're still connecting with Tandu. I'll just like to also share my story that happened last year. The same thing with fire, because I just farm in a
Please,
rural, what do you call it, rural land. So it's a very big problem.
please do, Farmer.
It's a very big problem. As Mr. Yankee said on first, like the people just like start fire anytime. I just know right now it's almost towards the end of July. After that, then like people, fire will be everywhere. So I always stockpile like a lot of sawdust, because I use sawdust on the chickens and also on the piggeries, like on my house for keeping up warm and stuff like that. So it's a problem, because I also almost lost some houses there because the fire came in. Then those sawdust catch the fire. So we thought the fire is finished, but then underneath there on that sawdust, it was still going around. So just right in the middle of the night, then you see like a big flame coming up, because now all that sawdust was going on flame. As I also supply with some other farmers, because I also hatch and supply eggs, what do you call it, day old chicks to the farmers. No, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. And then now all this insurance, you will see that they are expensive for us, especially we are still small scale farmers. We're trying to develop. Then how much are we gonna pay? And are they gonna really pay out when it's time to pay out, or are we gonna be asked questions that you can't even able to answer? Because insurance, when it comes to all of those things, it's just difficult even with your vehicle. So imagine the complex, how complicated it is with this farming, because it includes a lot of and different type of problems that are there in the farm that can just put you in a bad space. So I just hope maybe one day we're gonna have the solution with this. But yeah, it's hectic, Google. Thank you very much.
It's hectic. It's hectic, real farmer. And thank you so much for also sharing that with us, because that's what I was trying to let us speak about, because we've identified our problems. We've identified the fact that even the current insurances that are there, they're not tailored for us and our problems and our challenges. Mr. Yankees was speaking more on stock theft. They would want you to go to the police station and charge someone you don't even know who stole your things. So it's just things like that that you ask yourself, what are we going to do? What is the plan? Who can help us? So Thandi, are you still there with us?
Yes, Gugu, but this is actually Tapelo speaking. I just borrowed Tandiwe's phone for the meantime.
Okay, no problem. Fire away.
Yes, with regards to insurances, the thing is, because of our nature of business, just like with markets and prices and inflation, agriculture takes a long time to adapt to trends. So, meaning like if, for instance, a fertilizer, maybe a fertilizer that one uses, maybe like LAN, a very common fertilizer. There's a hike in the price of such as let's say for instance a fertilizer. There's a price hike with the fertilizer because of maybe the supply or anything. The farmer would feel it instantly, but then for the consumer, it takes a long time for the price to hike, and maybe for the consumer to. So during that period of time, it's the farmer who loses money. So that is factors that insurances take. For instance, it depends on the commodity you sell. How easy is it for you to get to favor maybe a price hike, maybe get more money? Let's say, is it like how a supermarket would just put on 5 rand extra for a loaf of bread, and we would buy? Understand? So because of and another thing being the risk management, a farmer who does not have a risk management and mitigating factors, for instance, like the farmer who had the storage burned down. An insurance, when they're busy with their risk assessment with that, they would look at, is there combustible material around your shed? For instance, they would require you to maybe rake or kill all combustible material like grass, straw, and anything lying around. So as long as farmers still have such that hinder, remember, they also don't want to lose. So for a farmer who would say, maybe I'm in a secure area, my storerooms are secured with this alarms and stuff like that, they actually give like reduced tariffs for that as well. So when farmers are looking for that, they should first do their own risk assessment before approaching insurances. That's when it makes it easier for them to obtain such.
Thank you so much for sharing, Tapelo. Are you in risk management?
I was actually doing it as consultancy from farms. I go hop onto farms and help out with such things.
Okay, so where can we get a hold of you, Tapelo? Because you're using Tandiwe's profile.
On Tandiwe's profile, because me and her are in contact.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you so much, Tapelo. Thank you so much for sharing. Thanks.
Thank you.
Who do we have? Peter. Peter, would you like to speak?
Molweni, ndinguPeter, ndifama iDarling ngase West Coast, iTshona Kapa. It's always good.
Thank you, Peter.
It's always good being here and engaging with you guys as fellow farmers. As I said, I'm also a farmer along the West Coast in Cape Town. And if I can give a bit of advice to farmers, upcoming farmers, is Tapelo actually raised a very important point, and that is to identify your own risks, to do your pre-risk assessments before any of the assurance people come out, and that is to actually analyze your farm and your setup and identify any possible threats. Now, threats can come in forms of weather threats. It can come in forms of criminal activities. It can come in forms of natural disaster. Now, you need to sit and look at your farm as an insurer risk assessor would do. Now, we are not risk assessors as Tapelo is or consultant, but you can think in that mindset. So, for example, you've got a cattle farm, okay? What are some of the risks that can occur when farming with cattle? People can steal it. So, you need to ensure, do you have enough security around your farm? Do you have enough place for them to be secure? Your sheds, are they built properly? Are they fire extinguishers? Because I can tell you now, guys, if the people from their risk assessment is going to come, those are the things they're going to look for. And how safer your place is and more secure your place is, they would look at that when giving you a rate. So think like an insurer. So, and then look at how can you improve your farm? Because at the end of the day, it's all about improving your farm for your own safety, but also for your insurer. The safer you play, the happier your insurer is going to be. Okay, so that's my advice as a farmer. Like I said, we farm in Cape Town, Tshona Kapa, and Ngase West Coast. And even here, we've got lots of stock theft. Guys, so we look at what precautionary measures can we implement. We put up higher fencing and we patrol a lot. Patrol. If you're struggling with your stock theft, that is a big disaster for a farm. Ensure that you patrol. Make sure that they know you are patrolling your grounds. Make fire paths. You know what's fire paths? Is before you actually make a way that the fire can't go overhead. So just think in a broad way, what is the biggest disaster that can get to your farm, and think of solutions. And if we don't have solutions, we've got lots of friends here, eh? Mhlobos, we've got lots of Mhlobos on this group. Reach out to them and ask your fellow farmers, I'm sitting with a problem. What do you think can I do to improve on this problem? Guys, it was always lovely speaking to you. Please take care and be safe. This is Peter Pence. Thanks so much for Google Let's for always allowing me on this platform. Always great chatting to you guys.
Thank you so much, Peter. We appreciate your input and we appreciate your advice as well. Guys, so I actually have a question now. Speakers, I'm glad you're here. You know, it seems as if we need to be constantly putting money whereas we don't have money, and that is actually my biggest concern, because now, who's that? Is it Ole? Hi.
Hi, Dudu. Can I just come in?
Hi. Would you?
The two gentlemen.
Yes, sure. All right, you can.
In terms of what Tapelo and Peter was saying, I hear they speak of risk assessment, ne? But now when you tell us that those risks are those mitigations that you need to do first before you invite the insurance to come onto your property. Now you have to put money into that for you to be able to reduce your premium by 3,000. You need to have spent maybe 200,000. For an example, if they speak of security, how much does a security company charge you in terms of doing security around your farm? If they speak of patrol, how much are you gonna be spending on doing those patrols on a monthly basis? I
Okay.
hear what they are saying, but they need, yes.
Numzan, if I can just jump in, Google, sorry, I'm jumping in here, and Tapelo can maybe jump in as well. I think, Numzan, when I said about security and patrolling, it's not necessarily putting more money out. It's being proactive, okay? So that means is maybe having some of your employees working with you, getting into a bucky and making sure that every morning you patrol your fence and that you can actually have a record. You know, for example, you maybe have a record where you sign, or whoever the employee is, if it's only yourself, that you sign this morning at this time, I did patrol myself. Therefore, you eliminate security forces. Obviously, the more you grow, you could invest in security forces, but it's not only for the insurer, but for your safety of your farm as well. So I would suggest look at what can you. I always tell people when I speak to them, when you are as an entrepreneur, we need to look what do we have and what can you work with what we have. It's not always necessarily to buy new things, but we need to utilize what we already have. So that's actually in Tapelo, I'd like you to jump in on this, is utilizing your resources at the moment and seeing how can that work with you.
Yes, Peter. That's a good one. One thing that farmers could do is grouping each other. For instance, you don't actually need a security company to actually patrol for you. Group of farmers can all come in together. Imagine, let's say we have like 14 farmers, and they group each other two each, and they patrol with their own bakkies. Remember, by then you need like confirmation and from stuff like your police forums and stuff like that. The police could also help you in stuff like that. Maybe on certain days, farmer A patrols with farmer C. Then on Tuesday we have farmer Z with farmer X patrolling, stuff like that. And stuff like unwanted guests, people moving around that certain area. Question people like that. If there's footpaths, close up your fence like that. Your employees, make sure that your employees don't have visitors all day round. Maybe put like times or days where you allow visitors on your farm. If you start showing that you are strict, that's how people are gonna view your farm, and that works for you. For instance, like your shed, removing grass all over your shed, around your shed, would mean that when because remember, they want insurance companies want minimal risk. If you display a minimal risk, that's when they can. And you might even, let's say, for example, if you see that, okay, I see now that my shed is secure, then you don't have to insure the shed anymore. Stuff like that. So you yourself get somebody outside, a friend or so, to judge your farm. And don't just say, this would never happen. There's a 1% chance. Even stuff like that as well. Close up gaps like that. It also helps. Farmers also, as for insurance, I know of a group of farmers who, instead of insurance, they have like savings account where each and every month they donate fees. If, for instance, you have a fire, that's when they can say, okay, this month so and so had a fire, so our savings are going to be able to lend this one money. Or some of them have investments which help in such age to grow their savings month to month. So it's not always insurances that can help in that regard. Farmers grouping each other, helping each other, work with what you have, and from then on move forward. Thank you.
Sorry, Guguletu, last thing before, sorry. I'd just like to say, Tapelo, that was great. I fully support what he says. We in Darling, we've got a WhatsApp group with all our farmers on, okay? And if anything happens, We are on the WhatsApp group. And like Tapelo said, you need to be proactive. If there's a unmarked vehicle close to your grounds, send a photo of that vehicle on the group and say, guys, I just saw this vehicle. What's it doing here? Make sure the criminals know you are proactive. Obviously in South Africa we believe in Ubuntu, né? And that is what Ubuntu is. I am because of you. And as to farmers, we need to stand together, guys. And if we stand together in our communities, we can be stronger together with minimal expenses. Another thing is, on our farm, we've got a thing for our employees. They need to inform us of any vehicles or visitors they have, so that I know. If I see a white polo coming into my farm, I know, okay, one of my employees told me they're getting visitors, they can go through. But if there's a random car on my farm, I've got full right to stop and ask them, what are you doing here? Because no protocol was followed. To have protocol, so start a WhatsApp group with your fellow farmers, and start a system you can develop yourself. And like I said, cooperate with your police force. They would be great, because that's minimalizing the crime in your area. Like I said, guys, I think when it comes to farm disaster management, we had a fire on our farm the other day, a few months ago, okay? It was in question within minutes. Everyone on the WhatsApp group was here with their farm trucks and their things helping us. By the time the fire department came here, the fire was gone, guys. That to me is Ubuntu, standing together and knowing I am because of you. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much to our Tape. Okay, he's still here. Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you so much, Tapelo, for sharing that with us. And maybe we can speak more on this, guys. Has anybody ever been successful? Who has insurance and really has a success story for us to be inspired by? Because currently, my reality can be different to yours, right? Like Mr. Yankees was here and he was explaining how, this happened, and Ole was there, thankfully, but it was not enough to stop the fire from spreading, and he lost his lucerne. So future MSC is here. Sorry, let me just accept that. So who has maybe a positive story to share with us that incorporates maybe you standing with your community, and you guys have your own thing going on, or who has insurance and have had stock theft or fire and flooding, and the insurance has helped. If you guys have those stories, please kindly share. I think I would really love to hear more of that. Future MEC, are you here? All right, having some network difficulties. What I liked about what Tapelo and Peter were saying is the standing together aspects, and I feel like at some point we have to realize that when it comes to our business as farmers, we're already in isolation, so we really need each other. We really need to be standing together, building together, and creating that that sort of trust and that nature of wanting the next person to grow. I think that really goes a long way. Safety aside, just to know that your next door neighbor is there for you, supports you. I really loved the story of Tapelo. Ole came to Tapelo, Mr. Yankee's aid, even though his property was damaged, but he was there. And I think we can really take a lot from that story, that as farmers, you are because I am, and we already have so many challenges. And if we can work together, guys, there's so many things that we can actually beat and overcome. I see that there are some speakers who would like to share something. I'm going to pick at random my favorite farmers for them to share some lights with us, because there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And I really wanted also to speak about what happens when political unrest like looting takes place. I understand the fires and the flooding, but now with what is currently happening in this country, like, what is the way forward for those farmers, guys? It breaks my heart so much, because I can't imagine just seeing your hard work just destroyed right in front of your eyes, and insurances, it's there, but we are speaking about how expensive it is. Sometimes I really feel like helpless. I'm just going to be honest. I sometimes really do feel helpless. So what is the solution? Hello, Mr. Yankees.
Hello, Gugu.
Hello.
Can everyone hear me?
But it seems like they've just looted everything with the network now because people are struggling to.
I think so. I think so, Farmer. I really do. Because what is happening? Uh, I think that is really what happened.
Hello, Gugu.
But let's. Hi, Mr. Yankees.
It's a serious problem.
This is a serious problem.
No, Google is set.
But I want.
Sorry, Google. Just
Huh?
cut you. I'm saying, just saying, good. It's set to just what we're experiencing most as like a small scale farmers in such a way. Because I can see we have some like people who have already been there in the game for some times and they've already accomplished some of the things. It's like I don't know which word can I use, but it's scared for us as small scale farmers when we hear guys all complaining, guys who we look up to as small
Yeah.
farmers. Now they are complaining like it's hard even for them. So we just think like, how are we gonna make it?
Mr. Rural Farmer, I actually wanted to touch on that, and I really want us to now speak on solutions because I believe that as farmers, we are very smart people. We make it work despite the odds. We make it work. So I really want us to speak on solutions. What can we do? And I share your sentiment with what you're saying, rural farmer. Guti, when you look at the big farmers, people that you look up to like Mr. Yankees, and you see them going through this and telling you, that this is something that's going to set them back X amount. It's what's the word? It's a bit discouraging. So it's something that I want us to take. I want us, if we can help our fellow farmers, please guys reach out to Mr. Yankees, coming from a legal aspect, a financial aspect, a farming aspect. Please share your thoughts with us, request to be a speaker, and let's speak about it, because I really feel like there are solutions. All hope is not lost. We can make it. We can still pull through this. We are resilient. We are farmers after all. So, okay, let's see. Ole, are you here?
Hi, Google.
Hey, so Ole, we just wanted to speak more on the solutions. How do you think we can make this work as farmers when we are facing flooding, when we are facing fires or looting? What do you think the solution is?
For now, Google, what I can say, the only solution for now, because I guess there's no solution from government, there's no solution from media. The only solution is to keep on trying, doing it again. Because even if somebody will say to you, where you've planted, make tunnels so that the water doesn't come flood there and whatever. Sometimes the water comes too hard. When you've made fire belts, I've seen this week another friend of mine's farm burning down. He's got fire belts that are big. So the only solution is to do it again, to never give up. Because if we give up, people have to eat. So the only solution is for us to always keep on trying and trying and trying again. I've planted cabbage again after losing 23,000 heads of cabbages. I've planted it again. I'm doing chickens again after losing 3,500 chickens that died. So it's the only solution is to do it again and again and again, never give up. I think that's for now. That's the only solution. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ole. And you're right. And I think that is what I love about farmers, right? And that's where I draw my inspiration and motivation from, is that farmers never give up. There's so many, challenges that come our way on a daily basis, but somehow a farmer just never gives up. The farmer keeps going and going, and we keep getting stronger and stronger. Brits and how amazing Brits is as a community, because the farmers are all working together. So that is how we win. That is how we combat a lot of things. So, all right, I see there's Black Monopoly trying again and Future MSC trying again. Let's hope that they can hear us this time. Sosi, hi, can you hear us? Oh, okay, I thought we had her. Black Monopoly.
Hello.
All right. Hi, Tapelo. Would you like to add on to something?
Yes, yes. One other thing is also for farmers to diversify their income. Don't just focus.
Can you indicate
can you hear
if you
me?
can hear me?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You can just speak. It's fine.
Hello, Google, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello.
Hello, Black Monopoly, we can
Yes,
hear
Google,
you.
let me try and say a few words. I don't know if
Okay,
I
so you
hear
can speak of.
I hear what the farmers are saying, and I'm just trying to add my voice to what they have been saying. You know, in farming, it's a real problem, especially for farmers who are actually entering the space. You know, it is so
Waits a bit over time. So I'm just going to open up the floor to the listeners, or to everyone who's here, who's present. If there are any words that they'd like to share, or solutions they'd like to share with us, or maybe pointers that maybe I haven't raised that they would like to speak on, please respect. Sorry. Please request to be a speaker and have your say, talk to us, share with us, motivate us, give us tips if you can. So the floor is now open for the listeners. If you'd like to say something, please, you're more than welcome to just touch on anything or something that I might have missed. floor is open, guys. So if there's anyone who'd like to speak, anyone who'd like to share comments or raise a good point for us, please do so. Tovela, hi.
Hi. I just want to add.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good as well, Gugu.
I'm good, thank you.
Yes. Good evening, everybody. It's Tobela from CRS in Cape Town. I just want to add something on the security aspect. Look, here on this farm where I'm farming, we've got a lot of breakage and a lot of stealing because we're more close to town and close to locations here around us. And so all these guys that are using drugs, so they try to steal just about everything. We in the fruit industry, so they try to steal the poles, the pump house. And if you're farming in these areas or areas like this, I think the security, it needs to be tight all the time. And here we do have um, a collective of farmers. They put together money and they bought a bakkie, and there is someone that is currently patrolling all the farms. They call that guy a farm wash. So they are actually patrolling every day. And if there is any problem, if there is any breakage, or if there's something something that I expect that is a criminal or something like that. So what we do, we just give a call to the guy that is on standby, and then he comes, and then he's got a bakkie that looks like a police van, but it's a farm wash bakkie. So he will come and he will try to solve that problem, and if he's out of hand, then he's calling the police. So I think with all of us, if we can come together and then we donate money and we put money aside, then we can afford that one bakkie that will patrol. Let's say if we are 10 in this area, with 10 farmers, then we can afford to buy a bakkie, or we can afford to donate a bakkie, and we have this one guy that is going to patrol all the farms. So I think it's better in that way, because in most areas you can't farm without security. And then when it comes to insurance, I know we don't have money to pay the insurance, but if you look at the loss that you will have if someone breaks in. Look, last year June, here on our farm, there was a breakage that cost 120,000. So they stripped the cables that goes to pump house. So that cost, the cables and the motor of the pump, it costed us to repair that and replace those cables. It costed 120,000. So tell me, if you don't have insurance, so what are you gonna do? So 120,000 is a lot of money, but because we have insurance, and then on this insurance, you don't have to insure everything, but you can insure things that something can go wrong. I know in the farm everything can go wrong, but things like pump house, your fruit on the tree, or your crop. So those things needed to be insured, so that if something goes wrong, then you've got a backup. Otherwise, it's going to hit you very hard. And I think we can also maybe ask the Department of Agriculture if they can help in terms of insuring the crop, because I believe that if maybe it's something more than what one can afford to pay or to stand on their feet again, I think the Department of Agriculture, they can help in those cases. Thank you, Gugu. Let me stop here.
Thank you so much, Thobela. We've heard you loud and clear, and I agree with you. And I think what you guys are doing in your community is very commendable. And thank you so much for showing us that it works also, because I think that's very important for you guys to share stories with us so we can see that it really works. And I think the general theme that we've gotten from everyone here tonight is that farmers just need to work together. There's no other way to beat that fact, that we really need to come together and work together for the benefit of every single one of us. So thank you so much, Thobela, for that. And now I believe that we have come to a close on our farm disaster management farm spaces. And I'd just like to thank our speakers. I don't see them here, but thank you so much to them. And please let's keep them in our prayers, guys. Strength to them, because, farmers feed the nation, farmers create employment, and farmers are the most wonderful, selfless people that I know. And if we can help them and assist them, please let's do that. Let's reach out to them. And I think what I have learned here today, tonight, is that we as young farmers, if we saying that in the next 10 years we have X amount of plans, I believe that we as young people need to come together and work together. I love what our host for tonight, Pipeleng Kwadi, she's here. I love what they're doing in the northwest side. They are really amazing farmers there, and they're all working together. They all have a sense of community, and I think we can really learn a lot from them when it comes to working together. Achieving things together, because farming is really not a race. It's not a competition. It's part of a building task. And we're building each other, and we are feeding the nation. We are part of the food security. That is a collective on its own. So you don't have to stress about it and be alone and be in isolation. I think we can all work together. We can all learn from each other. You can inbox Ipeleng and ask her what you need, and for her to impart her wisdom on cattle farming, and you can just speak to farmers, and I really hope that we keep safe. I really hope that we try our best to come together. I mean, if anything that has happened should teach us in this current unrest, is that we need to really, really support one another. It's bad there by KZN. So I see that there aren't any questions, there aren't any queries. We'd like to thank our speakers who are trying so hard to speak, but unfortunately network was a problem. And yeah, guys, this brings us to a close. Thank you so much for joining us. We will come again and talk about farm spaces next week.